Welcome to World of Suraj. Nintendo gaming consoles. In 1977, Nintendo released the Color TV game. In 1980, Nintendo released the Game & Watch. In 1983, Nintendo released the Nintendo Entertainment System and the Nintendo Family Computer. In 1986, the Famicom Disk System was released. In 1989, the Game Boy was released. 1990 saw the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, which was a successor for the Nintendo Entertainment System. Its tagline was, "You're playing with power. Super power." In 1994, Nintendo released the Super Game Boy, which is a peripheral which helps you play Game Boy games on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System. Then in 1995, Nintendo released the Satellaview, which is similar to how the Famicom Disk System is to the Famicom. The Satellaview was the same thing, except it was with a Super Famicom. In 1995, Nintendo released the Virtual Boy, which showed Red and Black VR. One of their games is called Mario Tennis. 1996 saw the Nintendo 64, which is a 64-bit version of a gaming console. Nintendo 64 introduced Super Mario Kart 64 and Super Mario 64. In 1996, the Game Boy Pocket was released, which is a smaller version of the Game Boy. In 1998, the Pokemon Pikachu was released. In 1998, the Game Boy Light was released, which had a light sensor behind. In 1998, the Game Boy was released in color, called the Game Boy Color. In 1999, Nintendo 64 successor, Nintendo 64 DD, was released. Although sadly, it didn't sell very well. In 1992, Pokemon Pikachu's successor, Pokemon Pikachu 2, was released. In 2001, the Game Boy Advance was released, which was a horizontal display instead of a vertical handheld. In 2001, later, it was the GameCube was released. In 2001, the Panasonic Q was released, which is a similar version of the GameCube, just it was silver and was made together with Panasonic. Game Boy Advance had a successor called the Game Boy Advance SP, which is similar to a flip phone. In 2003, the IQ player was released, although it was only released in China. In 2004, one of Nintendo's best-selling game consoles was released, and it was called the Nintendo DS. Nintendo DS also had successors. In 2005, the last of the Game Boys was released, and it was called the Game Boy Micro. In 2006, Nintendo DS's smaller version, the Nintendo DS Lite, was released. In 2006, later after Nintendo DS Lite was released, the Wii was released. It was the best-selling console until, of course, the Switch came. In 2008, Nintendo released the Nintendo DSi, which is a much better version of the Nintendo DS. In 2010, Nintendo released the Nintendo DSi XL, which is a bigger version of the Nintendo DSi. In 2011, Nintendo's first real successor was released, and it was called the Nintendo 3DS, which was able to show you 3D drawings. It has reached the end of its lifetime. In 2012, Nintendo 3DS's successor, Nintendo 3DS XL, was released. In 2000, later that year, the Wii Mini was released, which removed many features, but came at a cheaper cost. And later that year came the Wii U, which was a portable version of the Wii. In 2013, Nintendo DS's last successor, which is the Nintendo 2DS, returned. In 2014, the newer Nintendo 3DS and 3DS XL came. In 2016, the NES Classic Edition and the Famicom Classic Edition was released. They are smaller versions of the original NES and the Famicom. In 2017, the Nintendo Switch came along. It's a different type of console, which is a portable console and a home console together. In 2017, later that year, the 2DS XL was released. Next, and just like the SNES was a successor to the NES, the SNES Classic Edition is the successor to the NES Classic Edition, and as well as the Super Famicom Classic Edition, which succeeded the Famicom Classic Edition. In 2019, Nintendo released its latest product, and it is called a Nintendo Switch Lite, which is only a portable console version of the Switch. The end. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.